And we're back. Here we are, guys, back again to talk Newcastle United. I'm Sam here with Tom and Alex. We're going to dive straight in to the news coming out of the Premier League of the PSR changes for the 25-26 season, I believe it is. I haven't actually read the article myself. I saw the video from Sky Sports, but I'm hoping one of you two can fill me in on the exact details.
I don't know you
also
could read.
The listeners. Well,
go on then, Pedro. You know your stuff.
Yeah, so obviously we know PSR has been a right barber this season, to put it lightly. They've, messed up on so many occasions with just misinformation of how they're handling it, and clubs have been like Forest and Everton have been caught up in the crossfire of it all. And yeah, it's not been that easy for the average fan to follow what those rules are. So essentially, they're going to be doing away with PSR and replacing it with these new regulations from the 25-26 season. And I mean, I think the major point to call out from it is this anchoring, which is a term which a lot of fans obviously are going to be unfamiliar with, but it's one which is going to get talked about a lot around trying to bridge that gap between the top end and the bottom end of the table, and using in effect how much the bottom club's income is, and applying a multiplier to it. A multiplier which we don't know what that number is, it's not been agreed yet, but applying that to what the lowest club can makes, and then whatever that equation turns out as is the benchmark for what the salary cap will be. Salary plus transfer fees and agent fees all combined. So that will prevent the likes of Man Cities and the top end clubs from just being able to go away and spend infinite amounts. They have to spend within regions of what the other lower clubs can do in order to try and bridge that gap a little bit more and make it a little bit more competitive in that sense. So I think the vote went through end of last week or beginning this week, and it's been ratified by 16 clubs. The ones that weren't keen on it, I think Man City were one of them, and Man United, they were the ones who apparently kicked up the biggest fuss.
Villa?
Which is Villa was a surprising one. But that then makes me think that there's something maybe in the offing with Villa, that they're been riding their luck a little bit maybe with current PSR rules, and that they could be a little bit concerned of what this new setup is going to be like for them personally. Man United, obviously, they're just whinging about it because they've got this new money that they've got in now with Ratcliffe, and they want to be able to just push.
They can't even afford a director of football, man.
Exactly. It's but they obviously want to be able to go off and just start trying to get the gap between themselves and City fast tracked, which obviously can't happen for them. And it bothered me because it's like there's no point of, since we've had our takeover and all this money, have we whinged about the rules and things. We've just abided by them, and we've just done what we can, despite the fact that in some respects we are trying to operate with one hand tied behind our backs to a large degree, and that we can't accelerate at the pace that we would ideally like to, and go and plug holes in the team and get to where we want to be quicker. So for them, Man U to just be whinging their leg off just because they've got this new takeover and they want to be back to their standards that they want to be at is just typical. But I think overall, though, I think it's a positive move. Generally speaking, I think I would rather see a more competitive league with more teams like ours trying to break into that top six and break up that cartel that's been there for decades. And yeah, why not? Like, I think the only other flip side to that is, could it damage the league's reputation, because we're now putting more stringent sort of spend on teams. So if Man City, for example, who've got one of the highest turnovers of salary and things like that, are then going to be hit with, oh well, you need to reduce that because of this new anchoring aspect coming in. Could that see a lot of the star players have to leave the club and the league, for example? I don't know. Obviously, we're yet to see that, but yeah, I don't know what you guys think on the other aspects of it, but I think it's generally positive.
No, I'm the same. I think generally, it's a good idea. I think there's only 2 clubs who actually are going to be affected by it, though, who are over that limit right now. It's Man U and Man City, which is obvious why they vote against it. But do you not think, we are the richest club in the world? I don't mean to be, that guy, but you're saying you want, the league to be on a more even, playing field or whatever. Us, as the richest club in the world, do you not think, we could do, we could literally be number 1, far and clear, because we've got that much money, we could just buy everyone up if the rules were different? Do you not think we could, obviously not now, we're nowhere near that cap now, but in the future, be, handicapping ourselves to sort of dominating, I guess? I don't know. I'm talking, sort of maybe 10 years' time or whatever.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I think maybe that...
I'm not that greedy, though,
No.
Devil's advocate.
It's a fair point. I think there's definite reason to think that. I think the other thing is, though, that the owners have tended to try and side with, the Premier League since we've got things ratified. I don't know if it was just because of how, messy everything was during the takeover, and that, we had to probably smooth things over in some respects to make sure that deal went through. That maybe we are still trying to just play safe with a lot of these big decisions and things that are being made, rather than trying to make ourselves an outlier by calling things out necessarily. I think we've tended to vote safely in most of these cases when with previous decisions that have come in and voted with the majority. So yeah, I don't think we're trying to upset the apple cart too much. But yeah. I don't know. You're right, though. It could be that we do shoot ourselves in the foot, but we know we can't. The days are gone of where, when Man City and Chelsea got taken over, that they were able to just run away, spend whatever they want, and
Chelsea haven't been spending whatever they want, have they?
Well, yeah, no, well, yeah, they've obviously found their loopholes, and I think it'll come back to bite them in the arse anyway. Later down the line, it's just one of those things which it seems like an inevitability that they will. But obviously, we've still got another season of what the current PSR rules are, so that could definitely come back to bite a few teams from next season, at least before these new rules come into place.
I was thinking about this last night after I put a message on saying, it's for the season after next, but people are going to have to start kind of getting in line with it as of next season, aren't they? So it will actually probably affect this summer and next January as well. And definitely. Another thing that I saw was that there's still, if you're in Europe, you're still going to have to abide by the European
FFP, yeah.
I don't know if it's PSR or...
Yeah, FFP's their ruling, and they're the ones who are trying to bring it down to 70% of revenue. So, yeah, like the Premier League might bring in different rules for English teams, but if a team's in Europe, in a couple of years' time, you still need to abide by UEFA's FFP rules to get into the Champions League, Europa League, etc. So, yeah, if you go and you can spend as much money as you want, but there's a chance that you will get banned from European competition if you do just flout the rules, basically. So it's like I think we're well over that 70% mark, but then again, so is the rest of the league right now. It will take a couple of years to come in line with our commercial revenue, which is also increasing. But yeah, I think it just shows that even in a year's time, we won't be able to just go and spend whatever we want on whoever we want if we want to, well, stay in the European competitions, which I don't know about you, but I don't care what we're getting this year. I want to get in either of these 2 or 3, if I'm being really ambitious, but 2 European competitions.
Oh, definitely. That again, it's part of the bigger plan. We need to be able to be getting into Europe to make more revenue, bring more exposure, everything else. It has to kind of keep happening regularly for us to keep up pace and keep competitive and be ambitious. So yeah, we just simply have to keep pushing in that way. It does also, for me, highlight though that we have to, when we've made a big splash with getting Joe Linton on a brand new deal, and like these sort of deals now will become more and more like, we have to look at them with a microscopic lens, like to see if it's actually worth it in the grand scheme of things with these new rules coming into play. Like if these deals have to be a success, otherwise we've then just hindered ourselves from being able to go and buy somebody else and bring somebody else on a bigger contract because we've give somebody a massive contract and it hasn't worked out or whatever. So it does bring that into play for not just us but obviously other teams. Like you look at Salah at the minute at Liverpool, like are they going to be thinking longer term with like when they're thinking about a new deal for him, like with new rules coming into play in a couple of years' time? Like are they would they just say, oh well, we'll cut ties now, and because otherwise we'd have to offer him a chunky contract which could hold them back. So yeah, there's lots of like question marks still with it, but ultimately for us we just have to play it safe in some respects. Don't like we have been, just being steady away with like not going too crazy with transfers and contracts and stuff. It'll only just keep the noise going about, are we going to sell an Isak or Bruno or somebody, like, because they'll I know it's we don't want that and we shouldn't have to and everything else, but it'll just keep the noise will still be there. I feel with like when more talk of these rules.
There's talk of Isak signing a new deal though. Like that's, I think, very vague rumours, but apparently if we don't qualify for the Champions League this season, which we're not going to, he gets a pay cut of like, it's like 20-30% or something. It's quite substantial. So to keep him happy, we're going to offer him a new deal anyways, despite his current deal expiring in, I think it's 2028. I think it was 4 years left, but I imagine we'll probably attach a year if we can't. See, with obviously Chelsea putting players on these 8-year contracts, I'm sure they brought in something that you could only put in like, was it 5 or 6 years? 5. So
5 for the amortization side of things, yeah.
Yeah. Is it the same with player contracts though? Was it just
I think
for the fees?
so. I think
you can
it'll apply
give
to
him a
both.
longer contract, can't you? But you just can't amortise it over any longer than 5 years.
Well, so either way, like we've got him on a 4-year deal. We'll snag another year on if we can. We'll probably snag another 2 on, and then probably bring his pay back up to where it would have been. Well, it is now, I guess. Yeah, you've got to keep players like that happy. I know, like financially, it might not like be the cleverest thing. You've got him on a 4-year deal. Like, there's no reason why you should be giving him one more money into a longer contract. Well, a longer contract, I guess. But keeping players like that happy is like key. If like players aren't happy, like it doesn't matter if they've got a 4-year contract, they're either not going to play as well, or like they're not going to play at all, or force a way out. So yeah, players like that, like player like that especially, fucking
Again,
give him whatever he wants.
Yeah. No, definitely. Like, I know we've brought him up already, but like you just seen how Salah was at the weekend. Like, there's something bubbling under the surface there with him. Clearly, like at Liverpool, something he's not happy about. Obviously took it out on Klopp, but something is quite alarming. You would think for Liverpool fans of somebody of like that importance for them, who just clearly looks as though he's, feels like he's done there. Like I genuinely got that impression from his body language, like on the side of the pitch and when he got on the pitch against West Ham. So, like, yeah, you definitely can't afford, or we can't afford to have our star players in that position either, causing like those sort of problems.
So to wrap this section up, then this. I believe this was just a vote for agreeing in principle for these changes, right? And the actual rules will come out in either June or July. Probably July, I'd imagine. But that's pretty much what they voted through in principle. So, and the other team you didn't mention, I think, was Chelsea, abstained from voting. They didn't vote against it, but yeah. So
yeah, typical.
Awesome, right? Well, at least I kind of understand that a bit more now, and we'll see how it affects this summer as well, because I've got a feeling it's going to make everyone a little bit wary again about splashing out on big contracts. They'll be wanting
to sell players for a little bit cheaper.
It might even make people wary of Isak. Like, all this noise you were saying, like it might stir up the noise again. It might actually calm it down, because they're going to have to offer big money if they want to get players out of teams, aren't they? So, but we shall see. Let's talk about Sheffield United. Obviously, in the episode that got lost to the archives, we previewed the match, and there were some tasty predictions in that one. So,
go on then.
I predicted 6-0. Dorsey predicted 4-1. Tom, you predicted 6-1.
I don't know.
6-1. Damn.
So we were all close, but no cigar. But you guys had a sneaky suspicion they'd score a goal against us, and I tell you what, in that first half, I wasn't sure it was going to be anywhere close to that.
I'm glad it was just one. I'm very glad it was just one.
What an absolutely awful start of that game that was. We were just completely flat. Like, there was just there's just no energy, drive, whatever. Like, we, I mean, yeah, fair play, Sheffield United. They knew what they had to do. Like, I mean, they had to simply win to avoid the relegation, and they started out the traps like pretty well. It was such a strange, like, I mean, the team news, like, as well, was slightly surprising in some respects. I think, I didn't necessarily expect the back four to look like it did. Share looked like off it a little bit, maybe. Like, I mean, he came off at half time, but he didn't look comfortable.
I didn't think Burn did in the first half either.
No,
Burn was having to cover for Share though, quite a lot, I think, because I don't know if you guys could see, but he basically, like, Kraft was coming on. He was already stripped off and on the sidelines, ready to come on for Share, and then Share said, "Oh no, I'm all right." And I think Burn was having to cover for him a lot, because he wasn't moving very well, but. Burn, like, but I know you got a bit of...
saved with that first half.
Yeah, he come in for a bit of stick, but I thought he had a great game in that game, personally.
I mean, I would say to Dawson's point that Burn did look a little uncomfortable, or just generally the whole defence did on that corner where they scored from. Like, that was just absolutely abysmal defending, how he was allowed to get around the back, like, completely unmarked. Like, was just shocking. Like, I know last season we would defend set pieces a hell of a lot better than that, but that was just awful. And then, yeah, you're right. After that, Burn kicked on and making last ditch blocks, like blocking on the line, like one that was goal bound from Burton Diaz. Obviously, we rode our luck with the header that went off the bar,
and then the rebound as well. Fuck me.
And just, I mean, if Sheffield United were a better team, like, they would have, like, maybe put that game beyond us, or at least, like, it started like the pattern of the West Ham game in some respects, but just with Sheffield United being a far poorer team, like, just not taking their chances. And then, obviously we got back into the game, like, cracking ball down the line from Murphy, who otherwise, didn't have as good a game as I would have liked him to have had. But nothing, can't take anything away from the assist. Like, we've seen him do it a few times, just bend a lovely ball around the defender and then right into the path of Isak. And at the minute, he's a cheat code. Like, you put him anywhere in that position.
Like, the way he drifts offside, comes back on in between the two defenders. It was Henry-esque. Like.
Oh, it is, like, and like you say, you put the ball.
Fuck me.
First time.
Yeah. Oh, like, it's honestly, you cannot do anything wrong at the minute in those positions. It's just arrows, like, laser precision, like, every time, like, finds that bottom corner so well. So yeah, like, obviously that got our tails back up again, and, like, we were
speak for yourself.
So yeah, we got back into it, and, like, I think that settled the crowd a little bit, because there was definitely some the crowd were right up against them. Otherwise, like, it was just we couldn't face the fact that we were losing to Sheffield United at that point. But and Eddie's obviously had a big word with them at half time, and night and day, isn't it, after that?
Honestly, like, the first half, it was just chaotic. That's, like, the word I can describe it as. Like, it was chaos. There was no control over the game. Well, not from us anyways. Like, they had the better of the play, the better of the chances, like, and they defended well, let's be honest. Like, they didn't give up a lot in the first half. But
no.
Like, it's been a problem for, like, a long time now, and probably since Joe Linton went off injured. We can't control the midfield, no matter what personnel we put in there. We've just got no control, whether we've got the ball or out of the ball. Like, it's just horrendous. And it's a big problem. Chocolate. It's a reason why we're scoring so many goals, conceding so many goals. And I know the Sheffield United goal, obviously, as you said, came from the set piece. They were still getting fuckloads of chances. Like, and also, Dubravka, he is a problem.
Yeah.
There's, like, multiple times I've seen a ball being put over the top. It was in the position behind Shaw, and that's why he was having trouble. Cameron Archer sat him down. Doesn't score, thankfully. But, like, it's a ball that's played, and it must only be maybe 10 yards from the goal line by the time, like, the ball stops. And normally, Port would be out there every time.
Yep.
Sweep it, kick it out for a throw-in. Like, he would get on it, like, and it happened multiple times. The ball gets put in behind. Shaw's not quick enough to react, and Dubravka just doesn't come out. He doesn't move. It's just, like, so problematic. And I was watching that, and it just happened over and over again.
There was one where Burn was, like, shielding it for him. I don't know if you remember this one. And he's, like, screaming at Dubravka to come get it, and it almost gets to the point where the the striker gets in and he ends up kind of bundling Burn over the top of the Dubravka. It's like for me, it's always been like I've tried to give him the benefit of the doubt because it's like he is our second choice keeper, and like
he's like 35 now, isn't he?
For a second choice keeper, like how good can you expect them to be? But I think the problem is he's so different of a style that the defense still. I think it's just our style of play. It's not really to do with how long they play with him. It needs to be someone that can sweep. And I'm surprised, really, we haven't tried Karius more. Because I think he'd be way more agile and like quick off his line. So, yeah. But apart from Dubravka and obviously Shea having an injury in the first half, I thought the rest of the defence across the full game with Tino and Lewis Hall, like it gave us kind of a look into what the fullbacks could be going forward from next season. What did you make of their performances?
Yeah, no, like I think in that first half when we were right under the cosh at times, like there was some gaps. Like I think obviously they're quite attack and focused, which is what we want. But like there was some times where I did think we were getting a little bit caught out in behind, but obviously settled a little bit better as the game went on. And we reshuffled it. I thought McCraft came on, like especially like he had such a great game coming in. Like just maybe it was because of how Shea was obviously struggling with an injury or whatever it was. I couldn't quite tell actually at the game why he came off, but it obviously would have been something injury related. But Kraft came on and it just seemed so much more comfortable, and then that allowed obviously a bit more freedom as well in the second half, and we've seen a lot more, like you say, the future with Livramento and Hall kind of getting forward and joining in a bit more in an attacking sense, winning the ball up high, I think Livramento was kind of responsible for winning a free kick, which led to one of the goals quite high up the pitch. So, it's exactly sort of where we would want them to be. I thought, genuinely speaking, they were pretty solid. Like, and we've been calling for it all season to get all more opportunities, and he's looking like he could probably finish the season in that position now for the remaining games.
That's the thing. Obviously, Trippier's he's in Dubai, but he's touted to come back like fairly soon. I think Burnley will be too quick for him, but I think he's looking to get back. With 3 games left or whatever. Do you think he just comes straight back in, and then does Tino go to left back? Like, how does that work out? Because, as you said, like I wouldn't mind seeing these 2 fullbacks like just play out the rest of the season. Yeah. Like, I don't want to say like we're not missing Trippier, but like Tino is good enough, Hall is good enough, and as we've seen from the last few games, Gordon's deliveries are good enough. Yeah. And that's like obviously a big thing about Trippier, which like we have missed for a long time. Gordon's free kicks and corners are getting a lot better, and he puts them into really dangerous places, and he hits the first man a lot less. So yeah, honestly, I wouldn't mind Trippier. Like, you could come in for some cameos, but like starting the young lads for the rest of the season, like we haven't yes, we've got these European spots to play for, but it's not like life or death or whatever. Like, it's not like we look so terrible without Trippier, and that we need to get him back in. We need to force him back in. Whereas like if Pope's like fit, you know what, with 2 games to go, I'd still hire him back in. Like, and I know it might be a bit harsh on Dubravka, but I don't quite think Trippier's the same. What do you reckon on that?
No, I tend to agree, because it's going to be quite intensive, especially if all these games remain and are going to be tough games. Like, we'll get on to Burnley in a minute, but they've got so much riding on things. We've got the Man U game, which is sort of like a huge game. All right, Brighton could have been a huge game as well, but like they've tailed off, so they're not really in the the same running as we are now, and then Brentford, they're safe. So last game of the season might just be a bit of a that could be an opportunity to bring Trippier in if we're still chasing that sixth spot on the last day, less intensive for him. But it's going to, I think I agree with you, Dorse, that you don't want to put somebody into a high intensity game who's just had such a long layoff. Like, I mean, we've seen Wilson come back against Sheffield United, and I mean, the game was well and truly won by the point he came on, but it was, you know, he obviously contributed to it and got a good goal out of it, and looked reasonably sharp. But by no means would I be saying, yeah, throw Wilson into the starting lineup for the next game. Like, I'd be looking to just see more cameos from him. So, yeah, I'd agree. Trippier isn't an instant, as soon as he's back, throw him in type guy. Definitely just drip feed him back into the team. And he's obviously a danger threat in later stages if we're winning set pieces, free kicks around the box sort of thing. Like, that's a great opportunity to bring him on and use him as that, you know, these weapons that he has. But I don't think it would be harsh on either Hall or Livramento to just see them be shifted straight out the team when Trippier becomes available.
Yeah, I agree as well. Be great to have him on the bench though, and be able to have him to come on later in the games. And it does mean we've got cover for left back or right back, really. Whether you want to put him left back or move. Go on, Pete.
Yeah, I was going to say we even got an opportunity to have Alex Murphy have he had
a tough time,
decent run out. All right, yes, yeah, that's a bit of a baptism of fire, so to speak. Like he obviously, yeah, his blushes were spared by that VAR. Although from where I was sat, and like, yeah, I'm like over towards the Gallagher and the Milburn, so I'm like looking right across the pitch, right in that corner at the Leazers side. And I even seen he got the ball. Like, I was so shocked that the ref gave a pen. Like, you could see his leg come around and clearly knock the ball away. So I just was so surprised that the ref blew it up as a pen, and like obviously grateful that VAR came to the senses. And all right, the game was well and truly won at that point again. So like a pen for Sheffield United wouldn't have made a difference to the end result, but still for Murphy at least, like
I felt happy for him because it would have been
confident.
brutal to come on and give away a pen, but then he basically did the same thing again. Like, he gave away a free kick like 2 minutes later, same player, same situation. So I don't know whether that'll be good for him in a way, because it, like you say, that kind of baptism of fire thing. But like, if he can grow from it, or it's just showing that he's not Premier League level. Like, that is Sheffield United. They've already been beaten. He's getting done like that twice. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I was calling it for Eddie to start bringing some of those youngsters on. So I'm glad at least he put Murphy on at that point. Just obviously with the game being well and truly won, it's just nice to be able to bed some of those players in towards this time of the season. So
I don't know if he's more of a centre half as well.
Like
is he? Is he more of a centre half than left back?
I
don't really know what his preferred position
I mean,
is.
I think he can play like Dan Burn style, like left or like left centre half. But he looked like he could like be versatile enough and agile enough to be a left back. He didn't look like gangly and like uncomfortable as such being out in that left back position too much. Obviously, we've mentioned those fouls and stuff, but like when he was on the ball and he looked like he wanted to push up a little bit as well, and at times when we were like on the attack. So yeah, I don't know. It might be that he is starting to like look at him more as a left centre half rather than a left back, but it's just give him trial and error, I suppose.
One thing we need to touch on before we move to Burnley is Bruno's goal and that celebration, because I do feel it was a bit of a shut up to everyone in the media about speculation regarding his future. The way he kisses the badge, goes for the flag, and obviously he was kind of like a salute back to his Brazilian flag that was there for him and Joelinton as well, wasn't it? I don't know what that was like in the ground, Alex, but on the TV it looked awesome.
I wish I was there, but unfortunately I was working in Glasgow on Saturday, so I wasn't at the match. But my sister was there to enjoy it, so I'm sure she enjoyed that, her first game in quite a few years, I guess. But yeah, I was watching by, and the war flag's done a cracking job, like the whole Brazilian flag and the Gallagher, and the nice message in Portuguese as well. I think it meant a lot, and you're seeing Joelinton was there, all Bruno's and Joelinton's kids were there as well, the families were there. So like them seeing that, like surely like it gives them a warm feeling inside the heart, seeing like the whole stadium basically paying tribute to those two guys. And you know, like the lasses will be friends, like obviously they're like best mates. And that like Bruno like holding that flag up, like kissing the badge. I know, like, yeah, he could do this, and then someone could put 100 million bid in, and he could leave. But like, I genuinely believe in my heart that he like loves like playing for this club. He loves like
100%.
Everything that we're doing, and he wants to grow like as part of it. So like, I don't think he's definitely not going to fucking agitate a move. Like, if someone like Real Madrid comes calling, like, yeah, like we can't really stop him, and I don't think we would. But like, for starters, is he going to get game time? But there's only very few clubs who could afford to pay 100 million. I think I read somewhere that it wasn't installments, so it wasn't 100 mil up front.
Yeah,
but even then, like, yeah, but there's such a short window of like, I think it's like end of May till the last week in June or something like that when it can be triggered, and then that's it, it's gone. And I know a lot of so we'll see what happens on that front. But what a fucking ball by Gordon, and what a header! Like, obviously he's done that before, where he's came on the back on corners and scored a couple of headers, and it was exactly the same there. And
it's got to be his training ground move, hasn't it? Like, got to keep practicing that one constantly, or like very
from how far out that was. For Gordon to whip that in, put it perfectly there. And not only that, it's a fucking great finish. It's an absolutely brilliant finish. It's just so good to see him score. Like, I probably like to see him score more than anyone else in the team. Like, he doesn't get that many, and it's just so fucking nice when he does.
Yeah.
And he deserves it, because he has been one of our most consistent players since he signed, if not the most.
Right.
I couldn't agree more.
Anything more before we move on to Burnley you just want to touch on Sheffield wise?
I fucking Jacob Murphy.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna call out somebody else. I was gonna call out Longstaff, and I know I don't want to be just beating like the same drum time and time again, but geez, he's really struggled like in part of that game. I know like the whole team struggled at the start, and Sheffield United deserved to have the lead and everything, but God, Longstaff he couldn't even string a pass. Like it was bad. Like the crowd were really on his back.
Losing patience.
Yeah, because everyone around me is like, yeah, great. We don't care if he runs like this amount of like miles during the game and stuff. Like, if you want to do that, just sign up to the London Marathon. Like, you got to do more to contribute. Like, otherwise, like he just looked as though he was letting the game pass him by. Like, he wasn't even showing himself up for options of passes. Like, he was hiding a little bit. Like, I don't know if just like the initial start of that game just knocked him completely. But like he contributed in like a lot to Sheffield United's like positive start to the game, and yeah, I don't know how much longer he's gonna have. Like, and I know it's harsh to just single him out completely because of all the other injury issues we've had, and would he actually be getting the game time if we had Tonali and everything else? But like, yeah, it's just.
I mean, I'll
hard.
answer that question for you. No, he wouldn't. Like,
no,
you talk
No.
about him going missing. Like, I can't remember whether I've actually said it on the pod or just said it in the gutter. But like, he acts like he's turned up on a Sunday morning, hungover, and he doesn't really want the ball. So he's kind of hiding behind the player, so he doesn't have to receive the ball. Like, that's how it feels like he plays. Like, he almost mocks himself. When your team's got the ball, you should be getting into space so you can receive the ball. It's like he tries to hide behind a man. It's so fucking frustrating. And the amount of times when he does get the ball and he goes back to the centre half or back to the full back, I can't remember shouting at like my TV screen so much at one single player that I have done with Longstaff for the past few weeks, because it's so frustrating. Like, just passing sideways, backwards, killing our attacks. Like, single-handedly killing our attacks by literally just turning around and going back. And Sam, even you're right. Like, no, go on.
No, I was going to say, even in an attacking sense, like, it's a one-trick pony type thing. It's the same run, like between, like going on the inside of the full back or the winger, like, and trying to do that and then cutting it back across. But like, even Sheffield United, they obviously done their homework. Like, every time he tried to do that in the first half, completely getting snuffed out. Like, it was just too obvious. Like, so there's just like both facets of the game, like just like making attacking moves and like generally passing, and like you say, just marking himself. Like, he wasn't even like getting. I clocked him at points when Dubravka had the ball and he was looking for an option to pass into, and he was not even like moving into a passing lane. He was just sort of, like you say, tucking in.
Doesn't even look.
Like, out
he just
of
walks
sight.
away from goal with his back towards goal. Like, he's not even interested. It's so fucking annoying.
He's not making himself visible to like make the pass. Whereas obviously Bruno will run deep and like accept the ball like on the turn.
Same with Anderson. Anderson like wants to get on the ball.
Yeah,
as much as he can, and he's positive with it.
Like,
yeah.
No, he was, but I had to mention it because it was like very frustrating, and especially in a game where like against Sheffield United at home, the worst team in the league, like that's a chance for you to gain confidence and shine. And yeah, he didn't do that for me.
Right, I'll say a negative before I move on to one last positive. First of all, Jacob Murphy needs to do some crossing practice and training, because the amount of fucking balls you went to cross in and put out straight for a goal kick must have been at least 3. Like,
yeah,
do you know what he's good at? He's good at getting the byline and like firing it across hard. That's what he's good at. When he tries to float them in, he either puts them like far too long or just puts it straight fucking out. Like, honestly, it was irritating us. But I'm going to move on to. I know I've touched on Isak, Gordon as well. Like, the way them two are linking up now is like they are on each other's wavelength. Like, Gordon, obviously, he won the pen and assisted a goal. And there's the way they're playing, like they're looking for each other's runs. They're always looking to play that ball in behind. Honestly, I want to see these two in black and white for a long time, because the way they play together, like, is fantastic now, and it's just beginning. Like, once we have someone on that right hand side for a bit of balance, like, this could be like a dangerous front three, and I really think we're nearly there. Like, next season, all players fit. We'll only need 1 or 2 more pieces, and we are top 4 quality.
Yeah, definitely. I even like the cameo. I want to mention like Barnes coming off the bench. Like, I know we mentioned Wilson's goal, but Richie got. I forgot to shout out to the fans who were giving him like love for his HGV license. He drives what he wants. That was brilliant. But no, yeah, Barnes, like, what a brilliant assist that was as well. That has to be given some credit, like
Yeah.
driving at the defenders and then like little dink, right, just so delicate, right into the path of Wilson, smash it in.
Scoops
So,
it, didn't he?
oh, it's great. Like, so, but that just sort of highlights your point even more, Dawson. Even we do have the options, like once we've got full fit team like that we want on the pitch, we even have those like game changes coming off the bench as well, and making things happen. So yeah, it's a nice positive, like you say, after all that negative chat from me to end on from that.
5-1.
I'm moving 5-1. Yeah.
I'm still backing Longstaff as well. He's gonna come good in Burnley game, I reckon. Going to see an absolute masterclass from Longstaff.
I hope you're right, mate.
Burnley, you can't even convince yourself.
You mentioned before.
We're always capable.
It's going to be a tough game, isn't it? Because they're still well in with a shout of staying up. And you were just mentioning the form before we came on. Like, what was it? The last 8 games, did you say? They've only lost 1 or something?
Yeah. Well, 1 in the last 8 games, and that was ridiculously in-form Everton. They did have a man sent off in the second half, but still, like, they've played a lot of good teams in that space. Like, they've got draws against, well, I'm saying good teams, Man U and Chelsea. So they've got a few draws against some shit teams. But yeah, they picked up a lot of points. Like, probably before that run of games, like, they were down just like Sheffield were. Yeah. Oh, I thought they were long gone. Now they're only a couple of points behind Forest. If they get a win, I think they can go above them. Like,
yeah.
So there's massive incentive for them in this game. It's like, it's not going to be an easy game at all, and I just hope we'll get it right, because if we don't turn up like we did in the first half,
I think we did against Palace.
There'll be a lot. Yeah.
No, can't have a repeat of the Palace, like, because that was dreadful. But like, yeah, this Burnley team will punish us if we, turn up being complacent. Even just like for them, like they had to hang on in the end, like against Man U, like for large periods of the game. And their keeper Muric had a pretty outstanding game, and all right, yeah, they got brought back into it late in the game with another Onana classic howler, but you know they were value for that point away at Man U. So like, yeah, they will punish us if we give them a sniff. Like, we can't be making similar sort of mistakes. And yeah, like you say, their remaining games, like they got us, and then they travel to Tottenham, who, you know, by that point might be out of the running for top 4. So they might not have much to play for, so that could be another incentive for them in that game. And then it's massive. It is the huge game, like, on the final day of the season. Like, not often that they fall this way, where it's 2 teams like who could directly, you know, relegate the other. But Burnley Forest on the last day is massive. Like, so they'll want to keep themselves as close as possible to Forest within the current points that they're in, within a couple or better, to give themselves every chance at home on the last day of staying up. So yeah, they don't need any more incentive than that. And yeah, we've got our targets. We know we need to keep winning to jump back into 6th place. So it should make for, like, from a neutral's point of view, pretty much like one of the best games of the weekend. I would say, for that matter. Yeah, we do simply have to just prepare properly for it, though.
Do you think the away form's still like a big concern for us, which obviously doesn't bode well for our run into the end of the season now, having most of the games away?
Well,
or do you think it's blown out of proportion a bit?
Yeah, I think it is a concern. I think it's more just like the manner of the performances in these games that we've had away from home. Like some of the ones we've had, we've just simply been second best from the off. Like, I mean, most recent one at Palace, we were way off it. Like, I know we had the late penalty shout, which didn't go our way, which could have, earned us a point, but I think that might have flattered us in some respects had we got away with a point, because I thought Palace just outplayed us for the majority of that game. All right, yeah, we've got a good win against Fulham where we had to dig hard for that.
But for large parts of that, we got battered in the first 25 minutes. Like, we're in real trouble. Like, we can't, like, it's not just been like the results have been poor, as you're saying, the performances have been poor throughout the season. Like, we've had maybe you could count on one hand how many decent performances we've had away from home, and probably you wouldn't need all your fingers either, because like we've been that bad. Even games that we've like managed to get away with, like the Fulham game, we're poor for large parts of
that. I'd say we're going back to like the Villa game at the end of Jan. Like, that was probably the last decent away performance. And all right, yeah, we've had one away from home in the cup against Blackburn.
Drew.
Yeah, Drew got fortunate, but like, yeah, like we've lost to Chelsea badly, we've lost to Arsenal badly. Like, since, all right, yeah, I mean, we've got the win against Forest, like, after that Villa game, but even that Forest one, we at times, the performance wasn't as complete as maybe it was in that Villa game. So it's been really patchy. I know you're saying though, like how it could be blown out of proportions by certain people, because for every couple of defeats we have managed to then scrape a win, but generally speaking, performances away from home have just not been up to the standards that they were last season. And it's obviously been a big factor as to why we've been so adrift of the top four throughout the season.
Yeah, I kind of just mention it because Eddie seems to play it down a lot when he gets asked, but there does seem to be a mindset issue when we go away from home. But with Burnley, yeah, like I'd say from our side, we're very likely to set up the same way. But with Burnley, what's their kind of strength? Would you say, and like what is it that we're gonna have to nullify when we go?
So I don't want to highlight cliches out there, like sort of team spirit and togetherness, and like they'll make it a hard game and stuff like that. But like that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to go there and they're going to make it a hard game. I know Vincent and company is quite a change of Sean Dyche in the way he coaches his teams, but they haven't conceded many in this sort of, as you said, the last like run of 8 games or whatever. Not conceded many. So I think they're going to be hard to break down, and they'll probably play on the counter because we've shown that we are very susceptible in that way, and they've got obviously Fofana on loan from Chelsea. Lyle Foster was banging them in earlier in the season before he went on extended leave because he had some personal issues, but he's back in and like he's a good finisher. So we can be punished, and just at the moment I just don't really, even though we've got a few clean sheets recently, I don't have a lot of confidence that we're not going to give up chances. Like case in point, the Sheffield game, we will give up chances no matter who we're playing. Like they're meant to be the worst team in the league by like a stretch, and they could have had 2 or 3 goals like at least. So we just need to try and take care of the ball a bit better, like try and keep control of the midfield a bit better, and then the attacking players should be able to do what they need to do. And with the fullbacks actually balanced for the first time all season, pretty much, in the way of attacking, that one of them can like bomb up the wing, same as the other. Like it should give way opportunities to break them down. And yeah, it's just how I defend. Like, if Shaw's out, Kraft starts. And even though he's been all right lately, before that he had a couple of poor games, he's not that consistent, and he's clearly not the quality that we should be starting centre-half in a game where European football is on the line. So, yeah, I can't see we're setting up any other way than the 4-3-3 again. But yeah, we're really struggling at the back still with the personnel and with like conceding.
With all that being said, then let's have a score prediction out of the 2 years, and I'll give you mine.
Right, well, we weren't far off in the Sheffield United prediction. Like I say, it's going to be tough. But I'm going to remain positive. I'm going to say we're going to get an away win, 2-1.
And you're going to say that?
Is it because all we were thinking 2-1?
Aye.
All put it down then.
You know what? Stick me down for 2-1. Yeah, fuck it. We'll all win.
I'm going to go 2-2, you know.
I'm not like that optimistic about getting a win. Like, it's a rough game. Like, I could see it being a 1-1 kind of game. They've had a few 1-1s lately as well. But I'm going to remain positive.
Well, yeah, I think we're definitely going to be conceding, aren't we? And you'd like to think we'd be scoring at least one. But yeah, I mean, I really hope he's alright, because I feel like if we drop points again now, I don't know how much that's going to hurt the confidence going into the rest of the season, and obviously like other results could go in our favour. But if they don't, Europe starts to become a bit less positive, doesn't it?
Well, at least
I don't know how you're feeling now. Just before we was, Europa League. Well, Europa League.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you're feeling now about the rest of the running. Every time we sit down, it's like one less game to go. How are you feeling? Do you think you're confident, or as you were mentioning before, we've got a couple of games that you think they'll be on the beach for, but then there's this one and the Man U game. Like, the Man U game is obviously huge. Just
it's going to come down to that. You know, it is like there's a chance we get like a point at the weekend. They could well lose to Palace. Like, we've got a couple of tough away games. Obviously, we've got Brentford last game. We've got Brighton to go at home in the last home game. They've still got Arsenal to go, I believe.
Yeah.
So I genuinely think that the game against Man U will, like, if one team wins that, then sixth place is theirs. I think it'll come down to that.
Yeah.
But how positive I am, like, are we a better team? Yes. Are we playing better football? Even though we're not playing great? Yes, because they're playing even worse. It just comes to, like, who, like, turns up on the day, or who shithouses the fucking result, because they've been doing that a lot lately as well.
I think you're right. That Arsenal game's going to be huge, because we could be going into that if we think happy path here. We've beat Burnley, and Man U struggle against Palace, and at best get a point. Then that puts us ahead of them. Arsenal still going for the title, need to win, could easily win. Based on how Arsenal's form is, like, they're looking really good. So, that could then stretch us, like, even further into it, even ahead of that game against them at Old Trafford. So, there's other factors into it. We're obviously hoping other teams do us favours. Massively happy that Burnley did us the favour of nicking the point against them. That's proved massive, or will prove massive. But we then have to go and follow it up by doing our part as well. So yeah, it's just an interesting like how our fixtures practically mirror each other, like, or have been for the last like few games and will do towards the end of the season. So it's like we can put ourselves up against them and be like, well, we performed against this team like that. How will they perform? And
I'm just fucking buzzing we've got Brentford over Arsenal.
yeah, that helps massively. Like that we've got them out of the way. But yeah, like the way Palace did us like the other day, I could definitely see Palace doing Man U and this in the same manner. And yeah, like we just have to do one better than them again, and get the win against Burnley.
Yeah, boy.
Fingers crossed. Right, well, join us in the next one where we'll be previewing the last home game of the season, which hopefully will be a bit of a celebration for everyone in the ground. And we'll be going up against Brighton, which they're a good team, but as we said before, hopefully they're on the beach, on Brighton Beach by that point.
Hey! They'll be on the pier.
For more jokes like that, join us then. If you enjoyed this episode and you're watching on YouTube, do hit the like button, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when we're back. If you're consuming this as a podcast, do follow it for the same reasons. And hit us up on social media at stjames'pod, and we'll get back to you with some more crap like that. So, cheers lads. We'll see you next week.